We were recently awarded the Vaccine Treatment and Evaluation Unit just in time for the pandemic, which is like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. And we are at our inaugural meeting at the NIH in a room with some of the smartest scientists of the world. And Dr. Fauci comes into the room and he says, well, have you heard of this coronavirus coming out of China? Well, this will be your first mission. You guys need to mobilize your teams and get ready to start develop treatments and vaccines for this pathogen.
Rochester has decades-long experience in the field of vaccine development and infectious disease in particular. And if you put those two things together, that creates a powerful combination of investigators that can work together to solve bigger problems in infectious disease.
And so one of the first things we did was work on therapeutic trials, and we studied a drug called remdesivir, finding that we had a treatment all of a sudden. One day we didn't, and the next day we did, something that did show benefit and was able to reduce time to recovery and maybe even impact mortality.
Angela and I have become like Batman and Robin. We've already published our first paper, which is getting a tremendous amount of attention because it shows that people, adults in particular, have pre-existing immunity to the SARS-2 coronavirus. It's not the kind of immunity that prevents you from getting infected, but it may be beneficial and may explain the difference between people who develop severe disease versus mild.
We're also really well known in the world for helping develop vaccines against things that cause pneumonia and respiratory disease. So there are 6 vaccines that have been selected by Operation Warp Speed to move through the process. Here at the University of Rochester, we are involved in 4 of them, which is pretty remarkable for any single institution.
Everyone is touched by infectious disease. Certainly this pandemic is bringing it to the forefront of people's attention that infectious disease can be a very serious thing that really needs emphasis and attention. So all those things scream out for more research being done so that we can make sure we're designing the optimal strategies for eliciting beneficial immune responses.
Ultimately, we want every community here in Rochester and in Monroe County to have at least a 70 to 80% vaccine rate so that we halt transmission. But this is just one small part of a larger mission, which is to develop these vaccines, to deploy them across the United States, and to effectively vaccinate the U.S. population so that we can really control and put a halt to the spread of COVID-19. And it's good to know that that we're contributing to the science that's really needed right now.
There's also a very strong sense of urgency that we need to understand this disease as quickly as possible. I think we are changing the world as we speak.
And that's the Rochester effect.